apologize for the delay. Welcome to the city of Springfield. Oh, great. Again, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the city of Springfield annual control hearing. And I apologize for the delay. Date is June 25th and the time is 10:07 a.m. The meeting of the Animal Control Board is now called to order. I will begin by taking a roll call. And Megan Laundry. Beloved Edwards. Okay. Camille, present. Veronica, absent. Also, in attendance, Renee Overshaw from the Animal Control and Associate City Solicitor, Rocky Shruchak. There are items, not 4 items on the agenda morning. The first item on the agenda for this morning, I'm sorry. Can everyone just put it the right hand, that will be testifying? You swear to tell me the truth and nothing but the truth. And you and put your hands down. The first item on the agenda for this morning is the February 13, 2025 minutes. Okay, that's that.
Yeah.
This morning is a dangerous town hearing for people at 10 Saxon Street, owned by Anna Dina, and this was requested by the public area. You can see. You have 10 votes. You have 10 votes. Will it just be you? Okay, so I
Basically, she was walking out. She get like, yeah, exactly. Take her to the hospital. Let's say speeches. And medical writing, you guys about it. Pictures, I see pictures. Take a picture.
Yeah. But you should
Get the medical.
yeah.
Do you have a picture for these ones available? Yeah. Okay. You don't be bored of it. You can have for the actual record. That you just show them. That'd be great. You know,
Annalena?
you have confirmation. Yeah, did you give a notice confirmation sent?
Certified and traditional mail, it is received on that. But all I think. It'll take longer for the certificate to come back. They built it for a while. Notice. Or the traditional mail was not recognized and there's no had to deliver just something. The individual has not responded to any effort to reach. Yeah, we can bring it to stay.
Yeah.
Third.
Yes.
So I was around walking. The door was fully open. And I looked for like this like second, and then I just kept walking, and then like it ran towards this big. The yard is fence. No, no, it's not completely on that. They stood outside. They just it's telling me I didn't know what to do. I didn't want to run, so I just stood there. She. No adults.
After pitching.
And no adult came out of the.
I hear you do.
So this was reported after the fact when the Chinese budget, when we received notice, we had no history with this. This particular address. We went out to try to make contact. And the officer that responded was only able to leave a notice that the door was no answer, but they did hear dogs barking. He had originally set this up to be an earlier date, but we chose to send a letter to the property owner. Who is, I believe, it is so he responded to the service that letter to say this is the owner of the dog. But we still haven't had any communication with the dog owner. And then just the dog, she does have to walk up this address to get school daily. So it isn't like, you know, it's a bit out of the way, it would happen again. It's really important. For children's behaviors. We know a dog, at least from the last there, but we don't know. So. I know, I haven't spoken to him, he communicated
When you spoke to me, he said he didn't have any dogs, but there were 2 dogs there.
yeah, it's 10-12, so they're like. Dead. And then he provided the name of the.
You, you have any complaints to say?
The other day I was fighting. Yeah, the other day I was fighting.
Yeah.
I was with her and she looked at me and she was pointing towards the dog, like her. Excuse me. And I feel sad, like she was like pointing, you know, the dog, but I heard. I feel sad because, you know, like they couldn't do like nothing. And she got that scarf. Doesn't have it before.
And that's what that part of the day, okay?
It'll be tricky, obviously my recommendation would be the whole shebang, secure enclosure as defined by ordinance. Muzzle, neuter if applicable, I don't know if that was a male or female. Maybe they're very. a dangerous dog nuisance. A dangerous dog or nuisance license, if that's what we do, that the dog is in claim. And for the $1,000 limit.
Look at the one and we'll update the actual look.
I have one to do. Yes, I have one.
Okay. Perfect. Not it. Yeah. Double check. This one. It was really good. Third age saw the project will count. Yeah, you know. Yeah, or it's also.
They get a PD.
Yes, they can issue a lab.
But at this motion stand.
Yeah.
Including to the amended to include.
Days to appeal it. You have to put 21 days to be before the court.
The ordinance. It's asked. Yeah.
Thank you.
Everything. Must be.
Have you seen the one?
Never. Is it right that looking for, I don't know, the boy or girl, there's nothing in tracker, there's nothing in power system.
So it's not, no, it's not licensed.
It's definitely not like.
Dog.
I know vaccine industry, but they use like a we wouldn't necessarily receive that.
On the conditions.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Guns are sent.
Actually, direct neighbor. So.
Yeah.
Okay, I wasn't sure.
Yeah. But let's keep it.
Well, usually.
Usually, but I think, well, we had, say, the house. The kids, we kind of do a dog. Yeah, I don't do it.
The reason asking you about the. When we get appeal, 1 days to. Respond to the courts is. It's,
Wasn't sure how many impacts, but on days to me, if I'm what if they don't get the property, if they don't buy, then it's a deer or like one cost one within my.
Which is supplies, that is great people. And, you know, just. Up there, you
The dangerous dog getting for a dog being 87 West Rico Street, followed by Elizabeth Torres, first by Jonathan. Jonathan?
Yes. We talk about water.
Sorry, I hear
it.
No, thank you. Thank you.
So I'm doing 4:15. I'm back with my daughter, Caroline. And I put on the lead and went to the front yard. And I saw her dog coming stairs. So I stood with my dog and then I reacted real quick because she saw Bunny, the dog, and she lost control, completely lost control of the dog. And I yanked my dog up like in the air. And when I did, it punctured from the top of the neck through the bottom. It's bleeding like crazy. We went to the vet, spent $1,400 for medical bills. And if my mom or my uncle that's disabled, 77 years old, was out there, the dog would have been dead. Because they are petrified of the dog. You know what I mean? The dog is very loud and talkative, you know, and they're nervous. Take the dog out in the old front yard, you know what I mean? We've got a gate for our dog in the backyard. We've done everything we possibly can to, you know what I mean, try to be safe, to keep us safe. We feel like we're a prisoner in a home yard. You know what I mean? You can't go in the front yard and walk, shoot them, all when the dogs that, you know, you can't control it, you know what I mean?
Thing is the dog, she got lose control.
What's your name?
I'm sorry, Teresa Williams, that house is mine, fell on. Is that, in passing, not against her dog, we've had problems with other people who live in that house with the dogs, and everybody kept saying, you have to wait for them to do something. Well, now it's done, and I have my uncle, my brother that I take care of, he's autistic, he's 72 years old. And I'll tell you, it happened just a couple of days ago. They had just happened to take the dog. The truck was, they brought the dog into the truck. Yeah.
Yeah,
my
brother.
Yeah,
He was walking.
walking from the house into there, and my uncle's afraid that if he happens to have been 2 minutes earlier or whatever, or that dog would get loose and it would attack him. And so he's scared. It's like, I'm so tired of being a prisoner of my own house with these dogs, and again, nothing against her, but her dog is the only one who's ever attacked us. And our dog, our house is situated, I can't put a fence.
We can't put a fence up.
Because of the way that you will pull up, there's the driveway and there's the house, and you know what I mean, it's just too much space for us to have a confined back. And I didn't know what to do, not to be afraid, and the dog for a walk, because I never know if the dog could be out in the yard or anything. I'm scared all the time. And now that it has attacked somebody, and it's, you know, this is nothing personal, I just think these dogs are awful.
You go the owner. Remember the whole, yeah, well, that's
My house.
we count. You know, you have.
It's not, they don't own her, they own their.
We own our
They did the dog, they got
next to the neighbor.
Every time. It sounded like saying,
Yeah,
okay, I understand that.
and again, like I said, we're not trying to have any problems, we don't bother with anybody on the street, you know what I mean? Previous owner, again, had probably nothing to do with this. They had 2 German shepherds. We used to call the animal control. We called the police department. That, you know what I mean? We couldn't get it fenced up ourselves. I had to go buy 4 panels of plywood, of regular fencing to cover up so the dog wouldn't jump over. We didn't have our mail delivered for like 3 weeks. And it has nothing to do with her, but you know what I mean? Just incidents that are going on. And Thomas J, I mean, every time we call, we've never seen them come until this time. And even when I called the police about this, cops didn't even come. I talked to Mayor Sarno and he said, oh, you probably missed him at the wrong time, you know what I mean? Like, the dog now has got scars, you know what I mean? Nothing else is wrong with the dog, but but if it was my mom or my uncle, that dog would have been dead. Promise. But they don't know how to react. I do. You know what I mean?
I know I don't react under, and I read the state that this would ever happen.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Elizabeth? Oh, thank you.
My name is Elizabeth Torres. I'm the owner of Lily. This is her incident. Like he said, so basically I'm getting the part of getting blamed for whatever that happened before. I'm just renting there for 6 months. I moved by the second week of July. I just did it because lost my mom and part of my house got burned. So I moved there just temporarily. I never had a problem with none of them. We never crossed words to each other. I just found out recently because I heard him saying, I was coming out of this. I got Lily on the lid. She had her vest. She's on the lid. I got her wrapped out of my thing. But I tripped with the spindle when she saw the bunny going through between the tree. When she was going towards him, that he was coming on the same time, he reacted. He grabbed the dog. I yelled at Lily. Lily let go of the dog. I grabbed the dog, bring it inside, put it on the cage right away. My daughter went to him and checked on the dog. It's okay. He said, yeah, the dog's fine. Don't worry. Don't worry. We went back because my nail that was like this long. And when I had the leash, two of my nails flipped. So when I went back to him, my daughter went to check him. He said, don't worry, don't worry. He said, I don't see the dog bleeding. At that moment, the dog was not bleeding. And then my daughter went, checked him. Are you okay? Everything, we need to go to the hospital to take the dog. He said, no, everything is okay. We went inside. I went home again and knocked on his door and I said, yo, the dog is okay. Then we gotta go to the hospital to take him. I noticed my dog driver. He was like, oh, everything is okay. An hour later, I saw animal control coming. And I said, what happened? He told me everything was because I know she had a bad tooth like my dog. And he was like, oh, I just only just to report it. So the animal control come in, we talked to them and I said, listen, this is my pet accident. I had the dog, she was on the leash. I went back inside, I talked to animal control. Lily got all her shots, she got the release, she got everything. She's up to date and everything. I run a daycare from home. She don't have a problem with kids. She played with all the dogs before. So it was just a track when she saw the bunny coming out of the house, and it was that. So Lily is territorial, like whoever got the door, yeah, she's 100-pound dog, like she's big. And she just went to the situation that she see anybody in front of the house, she's gonna bark. And like I need the dog across the street barking. So I just have to call the period people was living there and I said, what happened? Because when animal control come in, he's jumping the suggestions to like, oh, I already had a problem with the people was living there. I said, well, why are you attacking me on that part? I did not know. I'm just ready for a little bit that my house be done and I can go back to my property. So and the animal control said, you over there, I'm over here. But I did open myself and then 2 days before I got the letter to come here, I opened myself how much I had to give you to pay for it. I opened myself out of the way because it's my responsibility for it. And he said everything is good. He told me, he said when the animal control said, don't give it the money to them, go to the hospital, pay his bill. But I never heard from them no more, like, communication or whatever. I sent the letter, can I pay for the bill? Like anything wrong with the dog? I reached out back, I put a note on the door and I said, how's the dog doing? That's what I, bring it up because I worry about the dog. Like I know my dog is big and the dog is small. But I see the point. I understand because it's a pit bull. Everybody just picked up about pit bull. They have a bad reputation. But when I got Lily, since she was 5 months, she was abused. And then I raised Lily in a different level. She played with kids. She's with friendly at home with everybody coming. Yes, she's loud barking. I cannot say I cannot protect my dog at that, but she is kind of loud on that part. But whatever happened, like they said, they reviewed it plenty time. They had a history. I did not know. So when I move in, they didn't even say anything to me. I make sure the year was here. And when I leave, I take Lily every single day and around in the morning and night. I work with kids in the morning. I take her for a ride. She goes to Springfield for 1 hour, just hanging out the door. And she don't nothing to nobody. It was just she got triggered about that. That funny when she's she started and when she looked that way, it was coming. His truck is on the driveway, that she went like that. So when I went back to him, he was like, "Oh, she bite you." I was like, "No, I just lost 2 nails because I have her on my leash."
Thank you. Mr. Williams, you have 5 minutes, so.
Yeah, when she came, she said, "Was there anything wrong with the dog?" And I didn't see anything. I'm not gonna. I didn't see anything wrong with the dog. I didn't know she was bleeding. All I saw was a puncture wound on the bottom of her abdomen, a little tiny bottom one. So I didn't think anything of it. So I said, "So bring it to the hospital." When I got into the living room after animal control came, when I wiped her top of, like the top of her neck, that's where I saw the blood. And that's where the dog had actually punctured in. You know what I mean? I have the picture, I'll show you. You know what I mean? They got punctured in. So that's when I said, "Oh, the dog's gonna have to go," because it was probably bleeding inside. But if you look at the picture, it shows it very little. That it was, see, this is what I saw right there. That little blue in the beginning.
Conversation. All conversation.
Show up everybody, because
Yes.
yes.
I'll give you, yes,
Thank you.
so that's the one that I first saw. Look at that. That's what I only saw in the beginning. So then I said to her, it didn't look too bad. So I said, "Well, I'm still gonna bring it," but I didn't know how bad everything else was. So then afterwards, and when I scraped the top off. Yeah, all you right back up.
Show it to you.
Yeah. Then that was the only, and then there was the other picture that just showed that was it. And then the top, you can't really see it because it was her skin, the way the color was. So I could tell like there was something like there. So when I raised my hand, I said, "Oh, wow, there's blood." So that's when I called animal control. And then the lady was there and I said to her, "Yeah, we're gonna go to the hospital." And she was right. They did say, "Don't pay us, pay the animal hospital." You know what I mean? But when we got to the animal hospital, we had to pay the fee anyway. You know, I mean, they're not gonna do all the work if you don't pay. You know what I mean? So like, if you said to me, "Hey, I'm gonna pay for you," I said, "I'm leaving." When animal control was there, the lady, I have the officer's name. She said, "Yeah, you guys can just go." But she continued to talk to the neighbor. You know what I mean? So then that was it. You know what I mean? And then later on, like I said, we got there, and if you need a copy of the animal, the bill from the animal, that he just gave us this letter. Yeah, third time. I didn't give you copies, I think.
It's a problem, like, I think it's fine. Is it in my file, least my wife in there.
It's all that's been said. Okay, so. I'll let it up. Read the one.
Oh, that letter did not. That letter just came to us, a couple of weeks ago.
Okay. Oh, you used to. Okay. So.
I thought we were about videos and that letter.
So again, it has nothing to do, and I'm sorry about the previous owner, you know what I mean? But it's just in general, nothing to do with her. But, again, like I said, this dog, yes, obviously was one time, not the other dogs. That's all we're asking, you know what I mean? If we could put a fence up, we'd put a fence up. I don't think she would mind, you know what I mean? Because our houses are butt right next to each other. But they don't allow that in Springfield. But they just put one up on 1179, the brand new house over on Bay Street, you know, it has nothing to do with it. Brand new white fence and everything. That house burned down, they put a brand new fence up. I know, it's just, again, very frustrating, you know what I mean? We all live.
I don't know what more we can do to protect ourselves against these dogs. I paid $500 for a cage for my in my backyard to keep my dog in. And then the dog stays in there in the yard. So I'm afraid of all these the dog. I just heard
Not her dog, any other dog. And there's, yeah.
And so, you know, I mean, we protect the dog as best we can, and we're bringing it into the house and it gets attacked. But please tell me what we can do.
Why do you say you weren't?
That's,
I'm sorry.
I think that's, we can talk about that.
Yeah.
That's a good.
Okay.
Yeah.
You have anything further to say?
No, that's it.
Thank you.
All right, I'll send you these pictures right now. Okay.
Yeah, I don't agree about it.
Well, like I don't know what else to say. So I know, like at the beginning, I was just getting blamed for the other person who told me. I sent pictures of Lily. I sent pictures of Lily laying down on the cage with the, you know, it was something real quick. Like I really don't know.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's a video of her and, you know, not there, but I know it was like something reaction real quick. I know, like I said, the period on it was just like a back and forth with them, and then they was telling me like, oh, they're racist, they don't like any big animal. The the guy next door talked to me, but then he says what happened with the dog. He's like always throwing indirect to me about the dog, but I walk my dog since I moved there since December, even on the pole, but not to East Way towards the street, like main road, and walk back and forth. And I never had a problem. The other day, he was talking to the cross the street lady, and my dog stopped, and she didn't even put no mind to him at all. And then the people across the street, they talk to me. They love when Lily's gonna have dogs that you can give me some taco. And Lily was just like mind your own business with them across the street. So, but I did open myself, so I was in shock when I got the letter that they reported it. But I already had it in mind. Why? Because they going through this with all the people who was living in there. And just happened, is right, you have the right to report it to animal control, because it was the first of it. I thought maybe they thought they had plenty reported, and that's why they did it, like, okay, somebody did it, we're gonna do the report, but this is the thing that she has. And like I said, I'm just moving my figure and moving out of there, not because of the incident, not because I never had an issue with them, not even crosses that go there. I just, my routine every single day, work 7 to 4:30 with the daycare, from Monday to Friday, and then leaving every day. And morning and night, she don't walk back in the house. She's a lost dog. She bark because she's like I don't have control that. She see the mailman and she just bark to the mailman. She see a bird, she bark to the, whatever it is at the door. She's really protected. And when she see my parents, and when they come in, nothing. And it's a different parent coming to the door and he come in to pick up his baby and you pick up his baby, Lily's not having it. Why? Because she already knows that's not the kid's parent. So I only put the bill, I don't have a problem. I don't know how I can pay the bill, that I give it to them, that I give a check, what I need to do, you guys just direct me. But I did not know what hospital he was going. So if not, I will show the hospital and pay the bill because I opened myself out of it. So thank you.
TJ. This is the first incident we've had with either dog. Currently both dogs remain licensed in the city. And that is Lily Spade? Yes. So I mean, my inclination will be a muzzle because she's not gonna be there long enough to even put a kennel muzzle or when leash or when off property.
I feel about by July 7th,
But
yeah, around there.
So you're
Second. And then that she gets her dog license. Are you moving back to your original home?
Yes,
Yes, and is that in Springfield? Yes, okay. So I would probably license her to your original home. Because if that's where you're moving back.
yes.
There's no sense in license her to.
Yeah, it's just finished, so I'm coming across and packing and out in my house. As soon as my house got written down, I looked
And I didn't check your other address, so I didn't check that, so it's possible she could be licensed, I don't know, I didn't check, because I don't know the address.
Uh-huh.
So.
The testimony was that it's not. The testimony was that it's not.
Right, okay. Right. Thank you.
Just go, this first one. Our consideration, it's my consideration, nothing to do with any past incidents regarding anybody else, it's only on this issue. It's in. And my question is that recommendations. The dog was leashed, so that in itself showed some degree of responsibility, at least being trying to be tailored here. It's an open ordinance to look at the dog foundation. She's tripped, lost control of the dog. That's certainly different than just that dog. But I'm very supportive of conditions that you suggest. Both dogs need to be registered. We only have control of these dogs in this situation because we the one who did that. But the recommendation is that both dogs be done that. Do we have to name dog nuisance or the definition of nuisance can we impose these conditions?
Yes, we impose any of those lists of that 110. But it must be clear even nuisance making this for any conditions.
And then the final thing is just as notification, banking community, they should communicate in terms of pay the bill. That's something they should be able to manage on their own.
Yeah.
We have an oversight. But just common courtesy would suggest that if she's willing to pay, and that would be the right appropriate thing. We don't have to get into that. But I would make the motion that is taking the nuisance with the conditions of 1 inch premium.
What is it?
And that would apply even out to cheap foods.
Okay. So the muzzle will be.
Yes. Yeah, because the conditions don't go by the address, condition go by the address.
That's those a nuisance that's because of the nuisance that it should be granted back to the missing animal person. Yes, based on the testimony and submitted.
Yes, you got all that together.
You actually counted what I was gonna ask.
Not my first rodeo.
Okay.
So, any other comments?
The motion to deem the dog as a nuisance.
Second.
And a condition item 1 and 3.
Second.
And roll call. All.
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Williams and,
Also, I said yes.
oh, I'm sorry, yes, I'm sorry. You can hear yourself.
You don't want to trust me.
Second.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yes.
it's Camille. And absent.
But you can explain to her what that means in terms of.
Yes, do you wanna step up for a second?
You were pointing about census. Depending on what you live in, sorry, the neighborhood you live in, It's a historic area.
Yeah.
It's.
Oh, I didn't. Okay, I'm sorry.
There's no commission.
Sure, so.
The city of Springfield some years ago, but now it's.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. You're welcome. Have a good day.
Oh, backyard. The problem with this happening.
Next item on the agenda. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is another compliance hearing requested by TJO for a nuisance dog hearing for a dog named Mia at 64 California Avenue owned by Peter Galucci.
Yeah, this non-compliance hearings is a little different than finished dog hearings. This is, he was already ordered some conditions and found that he did not abide by the conditions, so this non-compliance hearing, here's the letter. Here's the letter. That's the survey. It's the speed over the tree, right?
Can you describe what our options are?
Yeah, basic options are the safety factor compliance, $500, because there's not, it's not a new dangerous nuisance stuff going back age. I don't know the public complaint about it. We just witnessed that the conditions were not met by police. So
Technically, the same complainant complained about it. That's how I knew about it.
oh,
So I have photos from her.
but she didn't submit a complaint. Okay.
I submitted the complaint on behalf and I do have photos from
You have documentation.
March 5th. May 21st, because when I submitted it, around when I submitted the complaint. And this is just Luke on the June 6th. So it is done. Yeah, it's continuing to be a little bit of an issue.
It's a discussion of the issues and I mean. Yeah, because it's not any
Question. Yeah.
mitigate what we,
Yeah,
what's the conversation gonna be?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's letting you know what you guys can do, and then you can order up.
Fine, I mean, that hurts to get that, so I do shoot president.
Well, I talked to the gal, you know,
But
you're asking, I talked to the gal, I said, you know, if my dog, I was in my house and, you know, I must look the gate open, so she walked down this 2 houses down. So I went to the bathroom and the tree go. Said, just tell me, I'll come and pick him, trying to do something else, you know, it's not like the dog, it's not me, so. Everybody else likes the dog except for, I guess hers things, you know, I guess she's a right. She's a homeowner. Yeah, I don't think it's a big deal. She thinks it's a big deal, but evidently it's a big. Oh, here's where I am.
thank you. Motion, so option is to vote fine.
Yep.
I make a motion we vote fine. It's useless to continue this conversation. We've already had it before. He says, you know, by his own testimony, it's not a big deal to him. It's a big deal to people who don't know or who just live in the city and don't have to be the dog that they don't. Going to commemorate anybody or something more than just make the motion be fine. Be I'll make a motion, amend the motion to be $500.
On the motion,
I
Megan, yes. As I just said, after Clement. No, yes. there. Earlier. We tried to fix that.
Yeah.
Plus, like,
They're all set. Yeah. Tell them, it'll be this notice, so.
Yeah, you'll take notice of this year results of the,
So they're all good too.
it's gonna be the clerk, but until it's in.
Yeah,
There's some-
right.
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you. That's my.
In this case, what do we continue to do? No, I mean, well.
No.
We all touch. Oh my God.
Was like, okay, so
Okay, yeah, okay. So
today, the other two items, 5 and 6 will continue to the next hearings.
Oh, here we go.
The hearing is closed at the time is 4 AM.